My roommate's mooching boyfriend uses my things without asking, and my roommate told me to get used to it. So I brought him back to being homeless again. My roommate's 6-month boyfriend has essentially moved into our 2-bedroom flat, staying over nearly every night, using my toiletries without permission, and contributing nothing to rent or bills. When I confronted her about the lack of boundaries and respect, she dismissed my concerns, called me heartless, and told me to get used to it because he has no money and she wants him around. This morning I spoke to my landlord. He told me that technically, under the lease, guests are allowed for short stays like the occasional overnight or weekend, but then said that's very different from someone else effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple of nights a week consistently, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately. Now on to the more awkward part. A few hours ago, at around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me like usual, I stopped him and said I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kind of gave me that fake confused about what expression. I told him I'd noticed he's been staying here constantly and using all my stuff such as my shampoo, my face wash, my razor, deodorant, all of it, without ever asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing anything. That's when he got defensive. He didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt-trippy. He said something like that he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now, and that he was in a deep place. Then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food, let alone shampoo, and how my attitude is just another example of people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position, or if I think he feels good about the way he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. I stayed calm and told him that I wasn't trying to kick him while he's down, and that if he had just asked me, I probably would have said yes, and I might have even bought him some basics, but he didn't ask, and he just started helping himself, like it was owed to him. He didn't have a response to that, other than shrugging and muttering that he didn't think it was a big deal, and that my roommate told him it was fine. Update. My roommate came home about an hour ago, just before noon, and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said that I had already told her I was going to if nothing changed, and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, yeah, well, now thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that boyfriend's name is not allowed to stay more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent. She was livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant, and then said he literally has nowhere else to go right now, and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because they were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills, and now what? Is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death while you, and I quote, sleep soundly knowing your shampoo's safe and sound? I took a deep breath and said that it wasn't about the shampoo. It was about how he had been here constantly, like literally living here without ever being asked to contribute anything, and had barely even acknowledged me. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice, and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most coldest-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend, and of course she would want him here, that he's going through so much, and now I've made it so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family just cut him off one day with no reason, and all of his friends stopped talking to him too and treated him awfully. He called her after I confronted him earlier, and told her he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight, and he sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone, then said this was just another example of people not giving a fuck about him when he needs it most. I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have crept out, lol. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word, but honestly, I've reached the point where I'm done letting it work on me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time, but this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills, I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking, let him treat it like it's his, and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed but with nothing left to say that wouldn't sound like more of the same. After a few seconds, she just said, I hope you're happy, and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I've tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel. It's because they've both acted like the rules don't apply to them, and that's not my fault.